Today on July 12th, Archangel Michael says, "Finally, you opened my special message." He's been trying to reach you for days with an urgent divine intervention. Something very bad is about to happen in 30 minutes, but only you can stop it. Don't tell anyone, just open quickly. Today on July 12th, something ancient and sacred has been set into motion, and Archangel Michael's voice is ringing through the veil for one soul. You. Yes, you. He's been calling you, urgently whispering in dreams, delays, headaches, forgotten moments, anything to get your attention. And now that you finally open this message, the divine countdown begins. This is not just another word of encouragement. It's a spiritual operation. It's a divine intersection. You are now standing in the direct line of a supernatural assignment. The next 30 minutes carry a weight that could shift timelines. And Michael says, if you're still, if you're alert, you can stop what's been quietly building to destroy you. For days now, the atmosphere around you has felt off, like something was just out of place. Clocks slowing down. Sudden chills. Missed calls with no name. That wasn't coincidence. It was a warning. Something has been trying to reach you from beyond the veil, but something else has been trying just as hard to keep you deaf and blind to it. You're not going crazy. What you felt pressing on your spirit was divine pressure, because Michael has been trying to break through. This is not a general word. It's precision targeted, like an arrow fired through realms, and it has landed directly in your spirit. The urgency is not metaphorical. Something is coming in 30 minutes. Michael isn't speaking lightly. He doesn't just whisper messages like this. When he moves, heaven stirs. And when heaven stirs, destinies shift. He says you were chosen long ago for a moment just like this. This is the hour where your obedience becomes the difference between collapse and divine coverage, not just for you, but for someone tied to your purpose. There's an individual close to you, spiritually connected, who is unknowingly being targeted. If you don't intercept, it will hit. But if you do, Archangel Michael has already begun the reversal in your favor. You're not late. You're right on time. But only if you listen. Now. Do not scroll past. Do not save for later. If you leave this page, you will walk out of alignment with divine instruction. Michael's sword is drawn. The veil is thinned. The clock has already started ticking. 30 minutes from now, a spiritual event will collide with your earthly path, and depending on what you do with this message, it will either become divine protection or a demonic consequence. This is your moment. Don't tell anyone. Just open. Just obey. The next words will guide you. You remember it, don't you? That strange silence a few nights ago. The world around you slowed. Your phone buzzed and then stopped. The streetlights outside flickered, and your chest tightened like something invisible had entered the room. That wasn't anxiety. That wasn't coincidence. That was the first time Archangel Michael tried to reach you. He descended with a roar that your spirit heard, even if your mind dismissed it. The divine realm stirred, trying to wake you gently, before the danger matured into disaster. That silence was sacred, and you felt it. You just didn't know what to do with it. Because for days, you felt a tension in the air that you couldn't explain. A forgotten name popped into your mind. A face from your past showed up in a dream. You felt watched. You felt warned. That's not imagination. That's surveillance. Spiritual surveillance. Archangel Michael stood by your bed, sword drawn, whispering, "Wake up. Look again." But distraction pulled you back into routine. And the enemy smiled. Because he knows, if you ignore heaven long enough, hell makes room. Type I am rising to get the blessing 4896. You weren't being paranoid. That car that slowed behind you. That call you missed from a blocked number. That uneasy feeling in the middle of laughter. You're not crazy. You're called. And because you're called, you're watched. Not everything watching you is divine. Some of it is tracking your weakness, your delay, your fatigue. Something unclean has been feeding on your ignorance. Michael has been trying to get your attention because what's circling you doesn't want you alert. It wants you distracted. But not today. Not anymore. This is why Michael says, finally, you open my message. Because this was the only way he could get past your walls. Through divine algorithm. Through digital divine placement. This script found you because the Spirit ordered it to. And now that your eyes are open, the light has entered your atmosphere. You just invited divine interference into a situation that was about to collapse. You just changed the atmosphere over your home without even realizing it. Type I am anointed to get blessing 5272. Understand this, heaven doesn't operate on coincidence. It functions through divine appointment. And this moment, right here, is one. Michael has been trying to speak through delays, unexpected silences, strange sleep patterns, and emotional jolts. But the distractions were thick. The enemy's plan was to smother your discernment before this very message arrived. Because if you see clearly, you'll act quickly. And if you act quickly, you'll stop what hell have been planning for weeks. Now that you've opened this, a chain of reactions has begun. In realms you cannot see, angels are shifting position. A protective order is being reinstated around your name. But here's the condition: obedience. You must follow what Michael instructs next. You must not overthink, delay, or rationalize away this warning. Your delay is their open door. Your hesitation is a signal to the shadows that you're still unsure. But if you follow these words with bold faith, the enemy will be blocked tonight. Michael isn't just watching from a distance anymore. He is now active in your space. As you read these words, you may feel chills, sudden emotion, even a heavy stillness. That's not drama. That's confirmation. You have been pulled into the center of divine strategy. What happens next is critical. There's a person, yes, someone you know, who's been whispering your name in jealousy, not in prayer. And their mouth opened a spiritual wound that Michael was sent to seal. That's why this message had to reach you now, before their next move. Their envy activated a dark energy that began building 2 nights ago. If you hadn't opened this today, by tonight it would have escalated into loss. Loss of clarity, of favor, of peace. But now you've intercepted it. You're standing between their shadow and your future. This is your moment to rise, to protect what's yours, to activate the angelic order assigned to you. Don't waste it. Obedience is everything now. Type I am chosen to get the blessing 6144. There's something powerful about your name, spoken in the spirit world more often than you realize. Not just by angels, but by adversaries. When Archangel Michael hears your name, it activates a divine protocol because your name was etched into heaven's mission long before you knew the weight it carried. But recently, someone else whispered your name, and not with love. They spoke it from a place of jealousy, bitterness, and spiritual entitlement. That sound traveled, and what traveled began stirring against you, cloaked in charm but rooted in sabotage. Heaven heard it first, and that's why Michael intervened. It wasn't loud. It didn't arrive with thunder, but it was targeted. The moment they mentioned your name with malice, the atmosphere around you dimmed. You felt it. A strange tiredness, foggy thinking, a heaviness in your chest. That was not yours, it was theirs. Your projection of spiritual poison landed at your doorstep, hoping you'd pick it up, own it, carry it as your own emotion. But Archangel Michael stood by, sword unsheathed, waiting for you to awaken. His message is that awakening. Type I'm rising to get the blessing 6123. The reason Michael has been fighting for your attention is because someone tried to rewrite your spiritual script by speaking over it. Not in prayer, in gossip, your resentment. They've been watching your progress and wondering why you keep rising, despite what they plotted behind closed doors. They think you're unaware, but heaven knows. And now, so do you. This moment isn't about paranoia. It's about power. The power of awareness. The power of spiritual positioning. You are not being attacked because you're weak. You're being attacked because you're awakening. They've been trying to access you by stirring emotional confusion. That's why you felt disconnected from your usual peace. It's been subtle, familiar. That's how spiritual traps work. They arrive in patterns that feel safe. But discernment doesn't listen to feelings. It listens to frequency. And Michael has been alerting your spirit to a shift in vibration that your heart didn't want to admit. This is not about hate. It's about protection. Heaven isn't angry. It's activated. I am anointed to get blessing 7381. There are people in your past who still carry fragments of your energy, conversations unfinished, relationships closed without closure, alliances that dissolved under pressure. These people carry your name like unfinished business. And in the spiritual world, unfinished business is dangerous, because anything left open becomes a portal. Michael has been trying to shut those portals, but he needs your agreement. That agreement starts with obedience. That obedience starts now. Your next action will determine the direction of the outcome. You are no longer operating as someone unaware. From this point on, you walk with the awareness that the spirit realm reacts to you before the physical realm does. You've noticed the same faces circling your social space. The same names reappearing in dreams. That's not nostalgia, it's surveillance. They are watching because they sense your shift. What's worse, some of them want to delay it. They smiled in the physical, but cursed in the spiritual. But heaven is done allowing that pattern to continue unchecked. You've been protected long enough. Now you must participate in that protection. Michael isn't just assigning angels to walk behind you. He's commanding them to walk ahead of you. They are now clearing paths, burning bridges that were designed to lead you into cycles. People who were once essential to your growth are now liabilities to your destiny. And you feel it. That resistance, that inner wrestle, it's not random. You're being invited into a new realm of obedience. Not comfort, not logic, obedience. Because what's coming in the next 30 minutes isn't just a test. It's a divine crossroads. And how you move will decide what remains and what falls away. Your name is holy ground now. You must treat it as such. Watch who uses it. Watch who distorts it. Watch who tries to use intimacy as access. Michael says, your name is about to open doors, but it will also close mouths. Prepare for both. The blessing is rising, but so is the backlash. This is why you had to see this message now, because they made their move in the dark. but you've just activated divine light. You're no longer walking unaware. You're walking armed. If this word has resonated with your spirit and awakened fresh boldness in your heart, we invite you to sow a super thanks of $20. Your support helps us continue sharing prophetic insight, clarity, and strength with others navigating the path from betrayal to blessing. You can also partner with us through a donation via PayPal. Just click the Support Here link in the video description. Every gift, big or small, fuels our ability to keep delivering encouragement and truth to those who need it most. And be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a moment of divine direction, spirit-led revelation, and timely encouragement crafted for your breakthrough. Type I am shielded to get the blessing 8810. You did imagine the sudden mental heaviness. You weren't exaggerating the fog that crept into your thoughts. What you felt was real, a spiritual disturbance attacking your clarity, trying to wear you down from the inside out. The enemy didn't storm your life from the outside. He slipped into your mind quietly, twisting old memories into fear, reshaping past voices into present confusion. That war wasn't emotional, it was engineered. And heaven saw it. Archangel Michael saw it. That's why he's been pressing closer, sounding alarms that your spirit couldn't ignore any longer. Lately, everything's felt off. Moments of peace shattered by random anxiety. Glimpses of clarity followed by mental static. Conversations replaying in your mind, looping endlessly, stealing your energy. That wasn't your fault. It was a tactic. The enemy knew that if he could cloud your mind, he could mute your obedience. But Michael has drawn his sword. The fog is lifting. The ground of your thoughts is being reclaimed. Type I am rising to get the blessing 7133. The voices in your head that repeated shame, guilt, fear, none of them were ever authorized by God. Some came from people you trusted. Others were curses disguised as concern. You internalized them so deeply, you began to speak them to yourself. I'm too much. I'm not enough. I'm always behind. Michael says, no more. You are not a reflection of their trauma. You are a vessel of divine truth. And heaven is flushing out every lie that found a home in your inner dialogue. This moment is holy ground for your mind. Right here, while you read this. The confusion isn't random. It's targeted. But so is your healing. You are now in a divine exchange. Heaven is trading distortion for direction, lies for insight, loops for strategy. This isn't surface-level peace, it's structural reformation. The spirit isn't just calming you. It is rewiring you. You're not returning to an old mindset. You're receiving a new blueprint. Type I am anointed to get blessing 9247. That's why your sleep has been interrupted. Why strange dreams have revisited. Your spirit has been rejecting what your mind had grown used to. And now, the rejection is complete. Michael is removing the remaining threads of false agreements. You don't belong to fear. You don't belong to confusion. Your inheritance is clarity, and it's being restored. You will not make another delay-based decision. You will not carry emotions that aren't yours. You are being purified at the root of thought. This battle was never about intelligence. It was about interference. The enemy feared your discernment, so he flooded it. But now the flood has dried up. You are being equipped to distinguish spiritual voice from emotional noise. From this point forward, you'll sense motives behind words. You'll detect lies before they enter. Your mental gate is under lockdown, and Michael stands watch with fire in his eyes. This is not temporary peace. This is lasting transformation. You'll feel it in your bones, in the stillness that returns to your mornings, in the sudden clarity of next steps, you'll begin to recognize how much of what you were carrying was not yours. And as it lifts, you'll rise. Higher. Dober. Droger. You're not the person who spiraled. You're the person who surrendered. And in that surrender, clarity came rushing in. Michael says, your thoughts now belong to heaven. This is a new order. You stepped into a realm where confusion is foreign and peace is native. Guard this space. Protect your inner voice. Don't let familiarity reopen doors you just closed. The battlefield is quiet now, but only because victory was declared. You survived the storm in silence. Now you reign in stillness. The war for your mind is over, and heaven won. Papa, I am protected to get the blessing 8877. They smile in front of you, but something in your spirit flinches when they speak. That's not paranoia. It's discernment. There are people in your atmosphere right now who have learned to speak your language but don't carry your heart. You've been feeling drained, not because you're weak, but because you're surrounded by energy that's not in alignment with your assignment. And Archangel Michael is calling it out. This isn't about cutting people off. It's about reclaiming your spiritual oxygen. Because not everyone in your life was sent, they were tolerated. Michael's been whispering it gently. Watch their eyes. Feel the shift in your spirit. Don't explain away the discomfort. Some people around you are smiling while speaking death into your momentum. They speak of support but think in sabotage. Their presence feels familiar, but familiarity doesn't equal safety. You're not crazy. You're being protected. And the reason your body reacts before your mind catches up is because your spirit is ahead of the deception. Type I am rising to get the blessing 6411. You felt the tension growing, draining conversations, subtle guilt, one-sided emotional labor. You pour and pour, but they never refill. You show up, they withdraw. Your elevation has exposed their insecurity. They were fine when you were struggling, but your clarity has irritated their demons. And the truth is this: not everyone is assigned to your next chapter. Some were only meant to be part of the introduction. Michael is not asking you to hate them. He's asking you to release them. Heaven doesn't build on emotional attachment. It builds on spiritual alignment. And right now, your alignment is being recalibrated. That's why certain friendships feel off. Why texts feel forced. Why being around them feels more like performance than presence. You are not meant to shrink for the comfort of others. You're not selfish for choosing restoration over connection. What you feel is truth breaking convenience. Type I am anointed to get blessing 7525. Michael says, your elevation is exposing every false covenant. People who celebrate you in your valley now feel distant as you climb. They are quiet now, not because they are busy, but because they can't stand to watch your light stretch. This is spiritual exposure, not betrayal. And heaven allows it. Because pruning is preparation. Those who cannot clap for your rising are not qualified to stand beside your reigning. Let them drift. Let the mast fall. Let the detachment happen without resistance. There's someone in your circle who has placed spiritual weight on you without your consent. They present as friend, but operate as spiritual siphon. And you felt it, a heaviness after seeing them, anxiety that lingers, guilt you can't explain. That's not love. That's an unspoken soul contract that needs to be broken. Michael is cutting it now. You don't owe them your light. You don't owe them continued access. You owe God your obedience. That's it. The next phase of your calling requires emotional integrity. No pretending. No pacifying. No apologizing for boundaries. Heaven is trying to streamline your environment so that when instruction comes, you won't have to filter it through people who don't carry your frequency. The wrong circle will always dilute divine command. But you're entering a phase where only clear voices, aligned spirits, and honest hearts can walk with you. I am protected to get the blessing 8991. You've been asking why certain things haven't happened yet. Why doors you prayed for stayed closed. Why something that seemed aligned suddenly paused. You thought it was punishment. You thought it was failure. But Archangel Michael reveals the truth now. It was protection. A divine delay that kept you from walking into a counterfeit version of your calling. The enemy disguised it to look like purpose. It felt close to right, almost perfect, but it wasn't. And heaven blocked it because God doesn't bless almost. He blesses what's exact, appointed, and aligned. That relationship that fell apart. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. The opportunity that ghosted you. It wasn't sabotage. It was a ceiling meant to suffocate your calling. You felt like you missed your moment, but you didn't. You were being spared from acceleration that would have led to collapse. You weren't late. You were paused until your discernment caught up with your desire. And now that it has, the gate is opening again. I am rising to get the blessing 6677. The delay was divine because what was ahead required greater strength than you had before. If you had entered with your former mindset, you would have submitted to the wrong voices. You would have mistaken applause for alignment. But now, you know better. Michael didn't hold you back. He held space for your maturing. You weren't denied. You were being redefined behind the scenes. What felt like wilderness was really training ground. You're not emerging with just hope. You're coming forward with holy strategy. The kind of insight forged in silence. The kind of discernment refined by waiting. The delay taught you who is for you and who only follows the spotlight. It taught you that favor can't be forced. And now that you've passed the test, you won't return to spiritual shortcuts. You'll walk in order, not urgency. And Michael will go before you with fire. I am anointed to get blessing 7821. The truth is, you were being hidden. Hidden from sabotage. Hidden from spiritual copycats. Hidden from people who would have leached off your light while pretending to serve your growth. Heaven preserved your timeline while exposing their intentions. You were kept in obscurity not because you weren't ready, but because their presence would have polluted your harvest. You've been protected from premature access, because what's coming requires integrity around you, not just inside you. Now, everything is shifting. Doors are unlocking not because you knocked louder, but because you waited longer. Because you trusted the process, and that trust became the key. Michael says this next season will be proof that the wait wasn't wasted, that the silence wasn't absence, that every not yet was a setup for a divine yes. And when it arrives, it will not bring confusion. It will bring confirmation. This was never a delay of denial. It was a pause of protection. You are now ready. The alignment is here, and heaven has already come ahead of you. The things that didn't work out were not your loss. They were God's hand turning you away just in time. The circle that left, the deal that broke, the door that didn't open. All divine blocks to keep your future clean. Now your path is clear. Now you can rise. Michael nods in approval. You listened. You endured. And now, you're about to reap Top I am protected to get the blessing 9333. There's been a cycle repeating in your life. Different people, same wounds. Different situations, same frustrations. You've cried about it, prayed about it, blamed yourself for not seeing it sooner. But Archangel Michael speaks clearly now. It wasn't just life repeating, it was a spiritual pattern sent to drain you before breakthrough. This wasn't about coincidence. It was about containment. The enemy designed this loop to keep you busy healing instead of rising. But that cycle ends tonight. Because now you see it. Now you feel it cracking. Every time you got close to clarity, something pulled you back. A familiar voice. A well-dressed distraction. A sudden emotional spiral out of nowhere. That made you feel like you were stuck in place. Like no matter how hard you tried, you landed back at square one. That wasn't random. That was engineered. But Michael has stepped into the cycle now. And he's breaking the loop with one divine strike. Type I'm rising to get the blessing 7992. It was never just about your decisions. It was about your deliverance. The enemy studied you, traced your vulnerabilities, and waited. He knew what would provoke you, what would tempt you, what would silence your intuition. But he underestimated your awakening. You're not the same. You no longer crave what once comforted you. You no longer mistake distraction for destiny. Heaven is celebrating your growth, even when you don't see it yet. The pattern was rooted in spiritual memory. The enemy kept sending mirrors of your past, hoping you'd respond like the old you. But you didn't. You paused. You questioned. You hesitated, and then that hesitation was holy. A moment of discomfort was divine. Because instead of being pulled into the same narrative, your spirit said, wait. And that hesitation allowed heaven to intervene. Michael is proud. That pause was your victory. Type I am anointed to get blessing 9114. Cycles break in silence, not in noise. And you've been breaking them without even realizing it. Every time you set a new boundary, every time you walked away from what felt familiar but wrong, you were swinging a spiritual hammer. And those blows have weakened the foundation of the pattern. One more strike. One more act of obedience. And the whole structure will collapse. The enemy feels it. That's why the warfare has felt more intense lately. What you're feeling now isn't weakness. It's the tremor before breakthrough. Don't let the intensity fool you. This isn't failure. It's finality. The pattern is collapsing. The shadows are scattering. And your future is waiting on the other side of your obedience. You don't need to fight harder. You just need to keep walking forward. Every step away from the familiar is a declaration of war against what once owned you. Michael says this moment will be remembered in heaven. Not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. You allowed the Spirit to show you what you used to overlook. You didn't excuse it this time. You didn't go back this time. You stayed. You listened. You grew. The pattern is breaking, not just for you, but for the ones coming after you. Generational loops are snapping. Emotional cycles are drying up. You are not stuck. You are chosen. And this time, you're walking up for good. If this word has ignited something in your spirit and stirred fresh courage within you, we encourage you to respond with a super thanks of $20. Your support enables us to continue releasing prophetic words that bring clarity, healing, and hope to those moving from betrayal into breakthrough. You can also donate through PayPal by clicking the support here link in the video description. Every seed sown strengthens our ability to speak life and truth into the lives of others. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of spirit-led wisdom, prophetic direction, and divine encouragement tailored to your season of transformation. Type I am protected to get the blessing 8566. You noticed it, haven't you? The pressure intensified without warning. One day felt like 10. Emotions spiked out of nowhere. People misunderstood you. Delays came in clusters. Peace seemed to vanish the moment you thought you had it. That wasn't life being unpredictable. That was spiritual resistance. Archangel Michael says the attack increased because your breakthrough drew closer. The pressure wasn't punishment. It was proof. Proof that hell saw the gate opening and panicked. The enemy isn't attacking your past. He's terrified of your next step. And because he can't stop what God has already released, he tries to exhaust you before you arrive. If he can't block your blessing, he'll try to make you too tired to carry it. But you didn't fold. You didn't retreat. Even when confused, you kept seeking. And that's why Michael is with you now, cutting through the final layer of resistance. Heaven is not silent. It's strategic. Type I'm rising to get the blessing 8013. There's a reason it hit your emotions first. The enemy knew that if he could scramble your inner world, you'd misread the external one. That's why people you love suddenly felt distant. Why your own thoughts started questioning your value. It was a fog, a psychic heaviness planted to distort your vision. But even inside that fog, you felt a spark, an inner knowing that said, something greater is near. That wasn't just hope. That was heaven reminding you, don't quit at the edge of release. You're not being attacked because you're failing. You're being attacked because you're arriving. The enemy always fights hardest right before the line is crossed. It's the last attempt to discourage what he couldn't defeat. This moment is strategic, is holy. And Michael says, hold the line. Because on the other side of this pressure is the platform, the promise, the purpose that's already been written with your name on it. Type I am anointed to get blessing 7332. If you've been feeling like you're losing it, you're not. You're shedding old identities. Your system is detoxing from patterns that can't go with you into the next season. That discomfort, that's alignment for me. And yes, some people are pulling away. Some things feel like they're falling apart. But what's really happening is divine detachment. Heaven is stripping you down to your essentials, so nothing counterfeit crosses over with you. This increased resistance is confirmation that what you prayed for is already in motion. That's why warfare didn't wait for celebration. It came in the waiting. But heaven isn't reacting to your struggle. Heaven is responding to your obedience. Michael was assigned to you not because you're weak, but because your purpose is dangerous. Your light disrupts familiar darkness, and your presence makes demons restless. That's why they're loud right now. But loud doesn't mean victorious. Don't let the noise fool you. The turbulence is temporary. You are protected even when you don't feel it. Covered even when you question it. The enemy may surround, but he cannot touch. The delay was permitted. The distraction was permitted. But your defeat, not an option. You are not here by accident. You were brought here to finish something. And that's exactly what's about to happen. Heaven never starts what it doesn't finish. And neither will you. Type I am protected to get the blessing 9991. The battle you've been in lately was the final gatekeeper. You are not breaking down. You are breaking through. You don't need to get stronger. You already are. The attack intensified because the enemy saw what you couldn't yet see. Your breakthrough forming in the spirit. But now you see it too. Now you agree with it. And now, nothing will stop it. Michael's sword is drawn. His wings are extended. And the shift has begun. You've crossed a line in the spirit realm, and nothing will be the same. That heaviness you've been carrying, it's lifting. That constant push and pull in your emotions, it's losing power. You stepped into a divine turning point, a moment so pivotal that even time feels different. Things that once took months are going to start breaking open in hours. People who once ignored you will suddenly be drawn to you, not because you changed, but because your alignment has. Archangel Michael says, this is not imagination. This is manifestation. What was once blocked is now bending. What was once hidden is being revealed. This is the moment where the unseen becomes undeniable. Heaven has authorized release over your life, and things are moving in the background, faster than your mind can process. What looked still was never stuck. What felt delayed was just waiting on your full agreement. And now that you've agreed, the shift begins. Not next week, not next month. Now. Type I'm rising to get the blessing 6555. Don't be surprised if things start falling off your schedule. If certain people go quiet. If plans rearrange themselves with no explanation. That's not disorder. It's divine replacement. Heaven is clearing your field because what's about to arrive needs room to land. You praying for purpose, and purpose brings disruption. The people who leave now were never meant to witness the harvest. Let them go. The silence is sacred. It's not emptiness. It's preparation. You're being placed where your voice will be valued, your spirit will be nourished, and your mission will be protected. No more assignments that drain you. No more spaces that shrink you. You've graduated from survival mode. Your soul is stepping into fullness. Michael has fought long to guard this moment, and now you're walking into what others tried to curse but couldn't touch. Their words fell to the ground. Your obedience stood tall. Type I am anointed to get blessing 7634. This moment may not look loud, but it's loud in the spirit. Angels are repositioning. Heaven is watching in silence. Everything is shifting under divine instruction. You may feel more emotional than usual. Let it happen. The tears are holy. The chills are confirmation. Your body is registering what your soul already knows. The weight has lifted, and the oil has been poured. You're no longer hoping. It's here. You've stepped into fulfillment. You won't need to chase anymore. What's yours is magnetized to you now. You've passed the test of silence. You've passed the test of delay. You've passed the test of loneliness. And now, heaven is unlocking the stage reserved only for the faithful. You're not being elevated to show off. You're being positioned to serve. But this time, from overflow, not exhaustion. From authority, not anxiety. From clarity, not confusion. Everything that has tried to distract you from this moment was hell's last attempt. But it's too late. The seal has been broken. The gate is open. The call is loud. And your yes has echoed through realms. You didn't miss it. You didn't delay it. You're right on time. And the glory that is being prepared for you will require no announcement. It will speak for itself. Type I am protected to get the blessing 9444. Michael says, tell them this shift cannot be reversed. A demon can undo what was just released. No betrayal can cancel what's unfolded. This was not given to you by people. It was ordained by God. And when God opens a door, even your enemies will have to watch you walk through it. You are not hoping anymore. You are harvesting. This moment isn't coming. He has arrived, and you are ready. Fear hath been hovering near you lately, not loud but steady. It's that small whisper you hear when you're about to take the next step. A voice that says, what if it doesn't work? What if you're wrong? What if it all falls apart again? But Archangel Michael comes with a declaration. That voice is losing power. You are not under attack from fear. You are witnessing its funeral. The reason it's been louder lately is because it knows it's being evicted. You're not being overtaken. You're being unchained. Fear's grip always tightens when you're about to walk into bold obedience. It masquerades as logic, disguises itself as caution, but its root is spiritual paralysis. It's tried to convince you that preparation is hesitation, that caution is wisdom. But the truth is, you've already been released to move forward. Michael says the fear you're feeling now is not a sign to stop. It's a signal that breakthrough is near. Type I'm rising to get the blessing 7888. You've already outgrown the fear you've been fighting. That's why it feels different now. That old panic no longer hits the same. That same lie doesn't land the way it used to. Your spirit has leveled up even when your circumstances haven't caught up yet. The fear is still talking, but you're not bowing anymore. And that shift in posture has shaken the realm around you. Hell thought you'd always listen. Heaven knew you'd finally stand. What you once called fear was often just unfamiliarity. The newness made you nervous. The unknown made you question. But now, clarity is standing in front of you, and you're not flinching. You're starting to realize that fear's strength was always in your agreement. And now that you've withdrawn that agreement, it's crumbling. The enemy doesn't know what to do with a bold you. Michael does. He's assigning more angels. Type I'm anointed to get blessing 8765. You've been living too long with what if it fails. But today, heaven rewrites that to what if it works. What if this time the door doesn't slam shut? What if the yes is real? What if the next step doesn't end in collapse but coronation? You've been walking around your next move like it's a threat, but it's a gift. Unwrap it. Don't let old fear steal new promises. Understand this. You are not running from fear. You are outpacing it. It can't catch up with who you're becoming. It may shout from behind you, but it can't cross into where you're going. The version of you that fear once bullied has been buried. The version of you who doubted at every turn has surrendered. Now, the bold one has risen. The anointed one has stepped forward. And fear knows it's lost. You are now walking in the same direction that once terrified you. That is the evidence of your transformation. That's how you know it's real. Fear didn't stop. You just stopped listening. You now understand that being afraid is not the same as being bound. Michael says, your steps are now louder than your worries. And every step you take from here is a prophecy fulfilled. The thing you feared is now fading behind you. Its voice is shrinking. Its influence is collapsing. And its grip is broken. You didn't conquer it by shouting. You conquered it by walking. That's the proof of growth. You walked forward even while shaking. You obeyed even while unsure. And now, heaven calls that faith. Michael calls that victory. And God calls you free. If this word has ignited something in your spirit and stirred fresh courage within you, we encourage you to respond with a super thanks of $20. Your support enables us to continue releasing prophetic words that bring clarity, healing, and hope to those moving from betrayal into breakthrough. You can also donate through PayPal by clicking the support here link in the video description. Every seed sown strengthens our ability to speak life and truth into the lives of others. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of spirit-led wisdom. prophetic direction, and divine encouragement tailored to your season of transformation. Type I am protected to get the blessing 9441. There's something you carry that shakes the spiritual realm. Something hell has been monitoring, not because you're dangerous by yourself, but because of what's been planted inside of you. It's not just your gift, it's your mantle. The assignment that hovers over your life isn't ordinary. And every delay, every betrayal, every spiritual attack has one objective: to make you forfeit what you carried before it fully manifests. Archangel Michael says, they didn't fight you. They fought your future. And that future is now waking up inside you. Hell doesn't get nervous over talent. It panics over obedience. Because obedience activates the flow of heaven. When you obey, you step into currents that carry power beyond understanding. Your presence becomes disruptive. Your words carry weight. Your silence commands shifts. That's why you felt targeted even when nothing was going wrong. The enemy senses what's coming and wants to interrupt it before it can arrive. Type I am rising to get the blessing 8842. You were born with a divine blueprint, and even in your wandering, the map never left you. It was coded into your spirit before you had words. That's why certain atmospheres have always rejected you. Why some groups made you feel misplaced. Your spirit carried a vibration that darkness couldn't mask. And it frustrated the enemy that even in confusion, you were protected. Even in rebellion, you were marked. And now that you're aware, the weight is shifting from survival to dominion. You're not stepping into your calling, you're becoming it. Everything around you is starting to align with what you carry. And because of that, hell is trembling. Not because you're loud, but because you're clear. Not because you're famous, but because you're focused. Heaven isn't looking for perfect people. It's releasing power to prepared ones. And Michael says you are ready. Type I am anointed to get blessing 9029. You may feel unqualified, but heaven disagrees. Your scars are your resume. Your silence has been your training. Your losses were lessons. And now, what you carry will begin to overflow. People will feel it before they understand it. Doors will open not because you networked, but because heaven ordered it. Favor isn't chasing you, it's catching you. And once it rests on you, no lie spoken can remove it. The enemy hoped you'd stay distracted, that you'd keep doubting, that you'd minimize what's inside you to fit into spaces never built for your power. But that version of you no longer exists. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be sent. You're not here to impress. You're here to release. And now, every step you take echoes with spiritual command. You carry heaven's weight. Don't shrink anymore. Don't silence what shakes atmospheres. You weren't born to blend in. You weren't created to be tolerated. You carry kingdom. You carry fire. And Michael has cleared the path ahead so nothing will block this next release. Keep your head high. Keep your posture firm. The fear you once bowed to now bows to you. Type I am protected to get the blessing 9901. Michael whispers, they didn't see it coming, but heaven did. And that's why you're still standing. That's why your oil hasn't dried up. You carry something sacred, something set apart. And from this point forward, no more delay, no more disguise. Your calling is clear. Your authority is real. And the very darkness that tried to stop you will now witness your rise. There was a season where everything began to feel distant. People drifted, conversations ended, support vanished. You kept wondering, did I do something wrong? But Archangel Michael speaks now. It wasn't rejection, It was realignment. Heaven was repositioning you, not out of punishment, but for precision. You weren't losing people. You were shedding noise. And in the silence that followed, God began to speak clearly again. The separation wasn't random. It was sacred. You were being uncluttered to be entrusted. Some of the people you cried over couldn't carry the weight of your next level. Their loyalty was tied to the version of you that no longer exists. If God allowed them to stay, they would have corrupted the blessing. They would have mishandled the overflow. And so heaven initiated the goodbye before you had the words. You thought it was betrayal, but it was rescue. The loneliness was protection in disguise. Type I am rising to get the blessing 9292. The reason you felt so off balance in that season is because your soul was stretching into a higher dimension. Familiar voices stopped making sense. Old routines became uncomfortable. You no longer found peace where you once found comfort. That's not confusion. It's evolution. Your frequency changed. And those who refused to grow were disconnected. That wasn't you being dramatic. That was heaven being deliberate. The pruning came before the promise. Michael says, don't mourn what was removed. What left your life was never equipped to handle where you're going. If they couldn't understand your silence, they wouldn't respect your sound. If they couldn't handle your process, they wouldn't honor your promotion. This separation was not emotional. It was spiritual. And it was necessary. Because you cannot take covenant steps with people who only made convenient agreements. Type I am anointed to get blessing 8181. Heaven allowed the disruption to produce discernment. And now you see things you used to refuse. Now you hear tones behind words. Now you recognize energy without explanation. It's spiritual growth. It's not about bitterness. It's about wisdom. You now know how to guard your oil. You know how to steward your peace. The cost of connection is no longer convenience. It's alignment. You've outgrown pretending. Outgrown appeasing. Outgrown drinking to make others comfortable. And heaven has noticed. You passed the test of detachment. You didn't chase what walked away. You didn't beg for what closed. And because of that, new doors are forming. Silent, sacred, heaven-ordered doors. What's on the other side of this is not a crowd. It's a calling. And this time, you'll walk through it without apology. Michael says this moment marks a divine separation from distraction. You will no longer grieve over expired ties. You are not behind. You are not abandoned. You are aligned. Everything that left had to. Everything that's coming is ready. And everything you've endured has prepared your spirit to carry what's next with confidence. This time, the room will match your anointing. Type I am protected to get the blessing 9339. The separation was a setup. The stillness was strategic. And now, the release is real. You are not in the aftermath. You are in the alignment. Don't reach back. Don't reopen closed rooms. Don't explain what heaven has already clarified. You are ready. You are positioned. And nothing lost compares to what's about to arrive. Michael stands at your right. Walk forward without fear. Look back over the last few weeks. Can you see it now? The strange disruptions. The mental fog. The sudden confusion. The emotional dips that made no sense. The enemy was throwing distraction after distraction, not to delay your destiny, but to detour your focus. He knew you were getting too close. Too close to instruction. Too close to alignment. Too close to release. So he launched a campaign of spiritual noise to make you question everything God already confirmed. but you're still here. And that proves he failed. Distraction doesn't always look like disaster. It often disguises itself as busy blessings. Suddenly, you're flooded with decisions, opportunities, conversations, and responsibilities that feel important but are empty. The go. Keep you occupied so you miss the divine whisper. Keep your calendar full so your spirit grows tired. But Archangel Michael reveals this now. Every distraction was a last attempt to disorient your spirit before your next directive was released. Type I am rising to get the blessing 7220. This was never above attack. It was above attention. Your awareness became dangerous. Your discernment got too sharp. The moment you began hearing clearly, all of hell panicked. The enemy doesn't fear your potential, he fears your clarity. Because when a child of God sees clearly, they move without hesitation. They stop asking for permission to be obedient. And that kind of obedience breaks generational chains. You were targeted because your focus became holy. You began filtering conversations, guarding your energy, saying no without guilt, setting boundaries that previously made you feel selfish. That was heaven maturing your vision. And every distraction that rose up after that wasn't random. It was designed to reverse your growth. But Michael blocked the reversal. You didn't lose your focus. You leveled up in it. Type I am anointed to get blessing 8884. You now see the difference between noise and nudging. You know what God sounds like, even when it's silent. And that awareness is everything. From this moment forward, you'll feel when something is off, even if it looks perfect. You'll hear what wasn't said in a conversation. You'll detect the motive, not just the message. It's the gift of refined discernment. And it came through fire. Distractions don't have the same pull on you now. You've been rewired. You're no longer available for draining patterns or spiritual busywork. Heaven has upgraded your spiritual filters, and your decisions will reflect that. Michael says your mental gate is now fortified. What used to enter easily will now be stopped at the door. Not everything that asks for your attention deserves your access. You're walking into a season that requires precision, not popularity. And because of that, heaven has made your spirit allergic to distraction. You'll feel physical discomfort when you're out of alignment. That's not punishment. That's preservation. Your discernment is your defense. And you'll use it like a sword now. Michael has trained you well. And now, you can be trusted with deeper instructions. Type I am protected to get the blessing 9907. This is why the distractions intensified. They were afraid of your focus. But the storm didn't steal it. The noise didn't shake it. You stayed locked in. And now, the strategy is being released. The plan is coming into view. And every delay is being swallowed by divine clarity. You are no longer distracted. You are divinely locked in. This is your zone of breakthrough. And nothing is strong enough to shake it now. This is the moment Michael has been waiting for. The message has been delivered. The veil has been torn. The resistance has been silenced. You've made it through the noise, the testing, the loops, the confusion. You heard. You stayed. You obeyed. And now, the gate is open. Heaven is watching. Angels are stationed. You don't need another confirmation. You don't need a new sign. This was the sign. Today, July 12th, will be remembered in heaven as the moment your obedience broke what generations couldn't. This wasn't just a message. It was a divine operation, a supernatural intervention scheduled before time. You didn't stumble upon this. You were summoned to it. Everything in your spirit hath been pointing to this moment. A deep stirring, a tension, an inner knowing that something was coming. This was it. The gate was locked until your spirit reached agreement. And now that it has, access hath been granted. Type I'm rising to get the blessing 9696. There are things shifting that you won't fully understand for weeks, even months. Don't rush clarity. Just walk in faith. The next door doesn't require a knock. It will swing open. The resources are already in motion. The people are already being prepared. Heaven has moved ahead of you. All that's required now is trust. Not in yourself. Not in your plan. But in the one who saw the attack before it formed and assigned Michael to stop it. Michael's sword was not drawn for war, it was drawn for covering. He stood between you and disaster. Between you and delay. Between you and deception. And his orders came from heaven's throne. Protect them until they see it. And now you do. You see why it all had to happen the way it did. You see who was real and who was sent to block you. You see what's yours and what must be left behind. I am anointed to get blessing 7770. You've been prepared in silence, refined in pain, called out of crowds and carved in the wilderness. And now you rise, with fire in your voice, with clarity in your chest, with heaven backing every step. You don't owe another explanation. You don't need to convince another soul. Those who were meant to see you will see you. Those who left were never meant to go further. You are released. The instructions from this moment forward will come in whispers, not wind. You'll know by peace, not pressure. That's how you'll recognize alignment from distraction. Every yes will feel clean. Every open door will match your oil. And every encounter will feel like a divine setup, because it will be. The struggle for clarity is over. The sound of delay has been silenced. To walk without fear. Walk without second guessing. The next step will not feel familiar, but it will feel right. And that's how you'll know, this time, you are not walking into another cycle. You are walking through a gate. And on the other side is everything you were promised. Everything that tried to run from you is now being drawn to you. You don't need to chase. You just need to move. If this word has confirmed your spirit and awakened your boldness, consider supporting with a super thanks of $20. Your support allows us to keep releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength for others walking through betrayal into blessing. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance tailor-made for your breakthrough. Type I am chosen to get the blessing 8888. The shift has begun. The moment has come. The instructions have been given. And now, Archangel Michael steps back, not because he's leaving, but because his assignment over this message is complete. You opened it. You received it. And now, it's time to walk it out. Heaven is watching. The earth is waiting. And everything inside you is ready. Oh. The gate is open. You are anointed. You are aligned. And now you are unstoppable.